Which top prospects are still worth stashing? We'll talk about them next on FBT Express. Welcome to FBT Express. I'm Chris Towers here with Scott White, and we are talking about the top prospects to stash. And there's one name that is no longer a stash. He's just at the major league level, or at least he will be on Friday, and that's New York Mets pitching prospect Jonah Tong. And Scott, I am kind of unreasonably excited about the Jonah Tong experience. I'm going to the game. He's playing against Yuri Perez, one of the most fun pitching matchups possible right now. Yep. This kid looks like if Tim Lincecum got a haircut and threw like 96, 97, he's got a phenomenal changeup. I am expecting a lot from Jonah Tong. I think he's a must-roster player basically everywhere in fantasy right now. What about you?
Yeah, I agree. He debuted in my 5 on the Verge last week, and now he's just debuting. Of course, more rosterable than any of the other prospects we're going to talk about here.
You nailed that one.
Yeah, the timing got it just right. 1.43 ERA, 0.92 WHIP, 14.2 K per 9 on the year for Jonah Tong.
41% of his batters have ended in strikeouts. He leads the minors in strikeouts right now.
If you eliminate his first 2 starts, it's a 1.03 ERA. If you look at just his last 7 starts, it's a 0.51 ERA.
That's pretty good.
And then his 2 starts since moving up to AAA, it's a 0 ERA. So he just kept getting better and better. You mentioned the changeup. I think the secondary arsenal has definitely taken a leap for Tong this year, but his fastball is what it's all built on because he has a straight over the top delivery and yet still great carry on that pitch, which normally you see from a lower arm angle, or at least, 3/4. So it's just a strange look for hitters, and they can't square him up, and he's been dominant. And I have him as a top 50 pitcher rest of season, Jonah Tong.
And part of why I'm so excited about him is the Mets absolutely did not need to call him up. Like every quote from Carlos Mendoza and David Stearns that I've seen is basically just like them throwing up their arms, being like, "What could we have done? He forced our hands." So they didn't need to add him to the 40-man roster. They had to make a 40-man roster move to get him up. They are excited about him. You should be too. And now let's talk about 5 more on the Verge. Maybe we'll see one of these guys in the next week or so. Maybe Scott can get on another one. Jordan Lawler, shortstop prospect for the Diamondbacks, probably going to play third base when he gets called up. Robby Snelling for the Marlins, J.J. Weatherholt for the Cardinals, Sal Stewart of the Reds, and Justin Crawford for the Phillies. Scott, fill us in.
So I don't really know what the Diamondbacks are doing with Jordan Lawler. Why isn't he up yet? Of course, when Eugenio Suarez was traded, he was dealing with a hamstring injury, but he's been back for a couple weeks now and doing fine at AAA. Blaze Alexander filling in at third base. He occasionally he'll hit a home run, but doesn't do much. I think it's time to begin the Lawler era. I think it is going to begin soon. Robby Snelling has been nearly as impressive as Jonah Tong, honestly, especially recently. Since moving up to AAA, he's made 7 starts, a 1.13 ERA, 0.98 WHIP, 51 strikeouts in 39 2/3 innings. And Robby Snelling, not too long ago, just a couple years ago when he was still in the Padres organization, he was widely regarded as, if not the top left-handed pitching prospect, then one of them. Had a bad year in 2024 with the Padres, got traded to the Marlins, and has pretty much been fine ever since. Got his velocity back up, got his control under control. And he has plenty of innings left in the tank. I kind of thought we'd hear Robby Snelling was coming up when they cut Cal Quantrill loose. But
Ryan Gusto was terrible on Wednesday, so
Good
probably
point.
won't be long.
Good point, yeah. So he got first priority, but Snelling could be up close behind. And even if they wanted to keep Gusto in, there's someone else they could kick out. J.J. Weatherholt has been great at AAA. He has taken to the minors as effortlessly as Nick Kurtz and Jack Caglione did, and they got quick promotions. Cardinals slow playing Weatherholt here a little bit, but he can play anywhere on the infield, and they have a couple of scrubby options filling in at third base and second base right now. So it seems likely Weatherholt will be up soon. Sal Stewart, this is the new addition taking Jonah Tong's place. And he has totally crushed it since moving up to AAA in the Reds organization. Sal Stewart, 10 home runs in 35 games there, slashing 315, 401, 654. He's always had good plate discipline, maintains a low strikeout rate. The exit velocities have been excellent for him since moving up to AAA. He kind of was a fringe top 100 guy, Sal Stewart, coming into the year, but here at 21 years old has just really put it all together all of a sudden. The Reds are fighting to claim a spot in the playoffs. They got kid Brian Hayes providing no offense at third base. Sal Stewart's also played some second base. They got Matt McClain providing basically no offense there. And even if they wanted to keep them in the lineup, it's not like they have a dedicated DH. So I think if they're serious about making the playoffs, Sal Stewart needs to be on the tip of their tongue. And finally, Justin Crawford of the Phillies, hitting like 351 in August. He actually homered twice in the last 3 games, which is not something he's done much this year, but he has the exit velocities for it.
Hits the ball really hard, yeah.
It's just so much on the ground, so much to the opposite field, which is part of the reason why he hits for such a high average. Of course, blazing speed is the main tool here, and why I think it makes sense for the Phillies to call him up now. Left field, they've had nothing going on there all year. As they prepare for the playoffs, they can audition Justin Crawford to see if he could be one of those like Energizer Bunny types who puts a lot of pressure on the defense and can really swing a playoff series. I think Crawford has that potential, and he could impact 2 categories, batting average and stolen bases, if he gets the call.
All right, we will be right back to talk 5 more to stash.
You can't count on Derek's Tong skills.
Oh, Tony, I think it hit the ground.
But you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS and Paramount+.
Welcome back to FBT Express. I'm here with Scott White. I'm Chris Towers, and we're talking 5 on the periphery. 5 prospects you don't need to stash right now, but some names to know. Aiden Miller of the Phillies, Charlie Condon of the Rockies, Jacob Reimer of the Mets, Caleb Bonham of the White Sox, and Andre Pinckney of the
Andrew Pinckney. Andrew Pinckney. It's a tough name.
I appreciate your help there. Of the Nationals, tell us about this 5.
All right, so I don't know that we have time to get into all of them, but Aiden Miller is probably the biggest name here. Consensus top 30 guy. Got off to a really slow start at AA, but has turned it on here in August, slashing 348, 454. 629. We're seeing the home runs finally come through for Aiden Miller. He also has 50 steals, but power is expected to be a bigger part of his game moving forward. I think his performance in August should alleviate concerns about stalled development and him losing his place in the prospect rankings. Charlie Condon, of course, was the 3rd overall pick last year, and his stock basically tanked immediately thereafter because he wasn't hitting for any power. That was his carrying tool. He actually set a home run record in college to Charlie Condon. Sort of like Aiden Miller, we're finally seeing it here in August. Of the 11 home runs Charlie Condon has hit as a professional, 6 have come in his last 14 games, and they haven't been cheap shots. So hopefully, there's still some swing and miss issues, still some defensive profile issues, but hopefully Charlie Condon is salvaging his prospect appeal here. I'm going to lump together Jacob Reimer and Caleb Bonham, both because there's a lot of consonants in their names, first and last names, and because they have similar profiles. High walk guys with pretty good power. Bonham could maybe stick at shortstop. Reimer is at best a third baseman. I think they'll both end up at third base. Reimer's a little ahead, a couple years older than Bonham. Bonhamer's, though, very impressive for the White Sox at age 19, what he's doing at high A. They could be widely available in dynasty leagues, so you want to pay attention to those two, Jacob Reimer and Caleb Bonham. And finally, Andrew Pinckney, Pinckney, 24 years old, so a bit old for a prospect, but there are some tools here that he's finally bringing together since the start of July. 299 batting average, 11 homers, 10 steals. the strikeout rate runs high and is the biggest hurdle to him finding success in the majors. But he's hit a ball as hard as 116.6 miles per hour this year, which is 99th percentile max exit velocity. So something to work with. And the Nationals, they're still in rebuild mode. They only have 2 outfield spots spoken for long term. There's a chance they could give Andrew Pinckney some run here. And fun fact, I didn't know this until I was writing about him. Andrew Pinckney went to my high school. There's only been one major leaguer from my high school, Dwight Smith Jr. Hopefully Andrew Pinckney can be the second.
Not to be confused with the beautiful Andrew Pinckney Inn in downtown Charleston, South Carolina. Different guy, not the hotel. And that's going to do it. Sorry. I'm good. That's going to do it for FBT Express. We'll see you tomorrow.